we've had the president interacting with people we call stakeholders.
Yes.
And that took place, I believe, at Pedriase.
Yes.
Okay. And the president pledged to pursue a strong engagement with stakeholders as his administration's set to begin an economic adjustment program next year with the IMF.
Yeah.
Now, we're told that the retreat was attended by the vice president, but also the IMF negotiation team, some members, some parliamentary leaders, I believe, and then it also discussed a possible fund program for the 2015 budget and a medium-term development plan. I mean, all these are in good order. Do you think that currently our own decision to go to the IMF, as far as we're concerned, will adequately help improve the current state of the economy?
Yeah, thank you very much. First, in terms of foreign exchange, most often it depends on also speculations.
I don't get you.
Less the foreign exchange, the exchange rate that we have.
That is
sometimes
how well the CD will be performing against the major international currencies.
The speculators are there. And with the idea that the IMF is coming with the euro and the syndicated loan, the cocoa.
So you're saying it's giving confidence?
You realize that the exchange rate is dropping. Two, this workshop is very important because it's bringing all of us to a common platform. All the ministries, departments, and agencies will be implementing a program. And for it to be implemented effectively, there is the need for all of us to be on the same platform, understand what is ahead of us, what the president's vision is, what the IMF expects us to achieve. That is the only way we can work to achieve the objective that what the president wants the country to be. If not, at the end of the day, if the Minister of Finance is doing his own thing, you go to trade, they are also on a different tangent. You go to roads, they are on a different tangent. We will not be able to achieve what we want to. So I thank the president for organizing this workshop for the ministers and deputy ministers and other stakeholders, so that by December 2014, we are on a platform that is level, so that when we're pursuing the policies and the programs, we know what we are about. Yes, and I think it's a very laudable one.
Now, yes. For us and the medium to long-term sight we tend to have for the economy, as far as the vision is, do you think that we've taken the necessary steps to make sure we show up the structures of the economy for all those purposes?
Yes. Yes.
By what means?
We continue to pursue our development agenda, one, because the economy built on certain fundamental structures. We have to have all the development projects that will accelerate the economy in place. We work on the trade industry to ensure that we boost local manufacture, import substitution, to ensure that we are able to stand as a country instead of just being import dependent. We're boosting the agri to make sure that we increase production, rice production, maize production, yams, so that at least when it comes to food items, it shouldn't be quite expensive to be able to fill the belly. The belly is very central to whatever we do. And the government is pursuing all those policies. And it is an indication that we are on the right path. In terms of poultry, the government is currently carrying on broilers, about 300,000 broilers to help boost the poultry industry. In terms of sugar, we have the Commander Sugar Factory that has been, saw cutting has been done. This is to boost local production, create employment. We have the rice factory at Nyankpala that is ongoing, another one coming up at Savlugu. This will increase the production that we expect. Try to mechanize agri. If you get to the finance, they are putting a discipline to their red how to make sure that goods names are off the payroll system and make it clean to be able to streamline. With the president's commitment to ensure that BNI and other security agents do their work by exposing corrupt acts, as he sanctioned that of the NSS, National Service Secretariat. To be able to fight corruption is to expose it. The more you expose it, the more you identify how people go about it. With the setting up of the commission on this 2014, Brazil is exposing a lot, and there are corrective measures. At the end of the day, those people know that to be able to streamline it, we do A, B, C, D. So the president is approaching it from all angles. And with the IMF coming in, if we implement it to the letter, in the next 1.5 years, I think we should be able to recover and even start growing.
With all the experiences you have as far as finance is concerned, you think that currently, by the way we're managing our current trade deficit is the best means?
Trade deficit comes because import exceeds export.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that is why the government, through the Minister of Trade and Agric, and I spoke about it. If we're able to improve upon it, import dependency becomes very little. And once we are able to do that, we'll be able to reduce imports substantially, and therefore the balance of payment deficit will be a thing of the past. Yeah. And the president is focusing on that. You know, he instructed EDIF to make it local friendly, and just a month ago, some local company or domestic companies have benefited about 47 million Ghana cedis from the EDIF. And that means they are all going to produce more to support Mother Ghana. So it is in the right direction, even though we need to do a little more to be able to.
Because I was just about to ask you, in what quantum should we be implementing these, and in what phases? All these seem to be in the medium to long term.
Yes.
How will they influence the short term impact?
For example, the president said about 1.5 billion imports on 6 items, such as rice, tomatoes, oil, and chicken. And you could realize that in terms of the chicken for now, the government, about 300,000 are coming up. In terms of rice, government is boosting the rice production, not only to produce it raw, but to process it. So you realize that when we are able to improve upon this, by next year, the 1.5 billion imports with these 6 items will reduce drastically. So we need to just increase the production within the country while supporting with the EDIF and with the 10,000 cities to boost the youth who wants to set up their own enterprises. That is what can drive the economy, so that there will not be so much dependency on the government payroll. Because we get into a point where private enterprises should take over government.
But for an economy for which you are also perhaps banking your hopes on the private sector, which doesn't produce enough energy in the short term, could have a serious impact on what the cost of production is for the private sector, and ultimately affects their P&Ls.
Yeah, the government is working around the clock to ensure that energy production is, which achieve 5,000 megawatts.
Oh, we're told that all the time. But currently it's very much erratic.
Yeah, we know power is something you cannot sit today and just predict as a middle income country. Sometimes we depend on rains, and therefore if the rain doesn't come, sometimes we don't have control over it. 2, we depend on gas, which is where we get the gas from other countries, like the West African gas pipeline. Last 2 weeks, the workers were on strike in Nigeria, and that affected us. 2, we generate more with the light crude, and the light crude oil is quite expensive. We're setting up our own Atuabo gas plant, and these are all pointing to the fact that we want to have control over our energy sector. The buoy dump is there, but the water level is not that significant. And Asuglu just signed a memorandum of understanding for the setting up of coal to increase. So the most important thing is to be able to increase the power production. And the government is on course in respect of that. Yes.
Okay, so we're hoping that at least we could have some insight as far as we're concerned. But that's been the advocacy out there. Perhaps also we need to do adequate rationalization of our current energy policy or energy sector. As we consistently tend to rely on hydro and the other thermal sources, perhaps also we need to make sure, perhaps if it's hydro that we will dedicate to industry, then we find better means of getting sustainable energy means for consumers.
Yeah,
I mean domestic consumers, not necessarily industrial.
Sometimes we need to also educate. Solar is one of the most reliable because we have so much light, even though it takes so much acreages, renewable energy. But I think that we as individuals must also see it as a responsibility to, in our own small way, put some solar panels to generate. The other one that is affecting is conservation. To a greater extent, as Ghanaians, we have not learned to conserve energy. Whether you are in the house or not, we must make sure that all your gadgets run. Even the TV must be on. Instead of switching it off from the main switch, the switch, you will leave it so that as and when you enter, you just continue. Your lighting system is on. So to some extent, we need to conserve energy. Even if we generate the 5,000 megawatts and we don't learn to conserve, it will still not be enough for us.
So conservation is critical in all these.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be continuing the discussions, but we'll be joined by Kamaldeen Abdullahi, and he is the National Nasara Coordinator of the NPP, and we'll continue with the discussions. Kamal, how are you?
I'm good, Roland.
Okay, how did your Salah go?
Well, splendid. Went on well, except to say that, yes, the economic crunch is always there. But then what do we do? We'll all have to be in it like that, as we are citizens of Ghana.
Okay, the Member of Parliament was also making commentary on the President's social partners meeting, in which he engaged not only the IMF team, but also ministers, members of parliament, that's the leadership of the members of parliament, and organized groups, and it included organized labor, etc., to make sure we tended to have a certain pattern to the current negotiations we're having with the IMF, etc., and also prepare the way for next year's budget, so to speak, because people needed to be very much well in line. You should be very much glad now we have the CD bouncing back, and so it means the economy is being strengthened, and Mutawakilu is saying it's because, well, the signals that the various stakeholders are getting is positive, and that is why the economy is improving. Kudos to the President.
Well, interesting. Well, when we jump the gun now to say kudos to the President, you see, I find it very much unfortunate and very much disingenuous towards the presidency. Because if you, at the end of the day, don't tell the President the current situation on the ground, you're not helping him to succeed. Yes, it's true that the city is indeed gaining some strength. I agree. However, where we are pegged right now, 3 cities, is that the best for us? It's not. Because we came a long way from 1 city, 20 pesos. I've always made this point to where we are. Now, why should we be seen gloating over 3 cities right now and calling it a strength?
Well, we're climbing up.
We're climbing up. As if there were factors that saw us climbing up. Today, let me tell you, the city being bouncing back is not as a result of any pragmatic measure or policy that has been put in place at all.
I don't get you.
Yes, it's not as a result of a policy, a fiscal policy coming from Bank of Ghana that is seeing the city being cushioned. You know why? We were told that the Euro bond has actually been subscribed, and of course it will be coming in. It's yet to come in. We should bear that in mind. We are told that this syndication loan from the Cocoa board is coming in. It's yet to come in. We should bear that in mind. Now, if these 2 factors were announced, and we had people in the market, you know, the market, black market, they control the forex market.
And they respond.
We have people who hoarded dollars, and the depletion of the dollar in the market was what was causing the city to go down. Now, if I hear the announcement that there's going to be injection of forex through Bank of Ghana, what I have hoarded, I'm pushing it into the market, and therefore you see the city coming back. So you sit down and you think that it is government policy, then you are actually deceiving yourself.
But which policy was it for you to go for a syndicated loan for cocoa?
Yeah.
And also to go for a Eurobond? Isn't that a policy?
Yes.
And also even to go start negotiations and go for a bailout with the IMF. Is it not to strengthen and give the positive signals for the economy to go?
I agree completely. As we sit right now, Mutakilo will agree with me that government expenditure has actually completely government expenditure has actually
say he
declined.
doesn't agree.
Okay, well, he does. It is left for him to agree or not to agree. But the fact remains the fact. The fact I'm making here is that government is not spending. Contractors are owed. We know that. And they all talk about
subventions
have not gone through. Some statutory payments have not been made. Let government start this expenditure and you see whether or not the economy that, I mean, the city that we're talking about will gain its value or will not gain its value. So you see, when you try to choose and pick and want to play games with it, you have a problem.
Kamal, I get your point, but in basic economics and trying to manage expenditure, even yourself as an individual, if it's a firm or an entity, you don't pay all your debts. Once you know that, well, you have to make expenses on certain things, key capital expenditure and some other recurrents. So as far as we're concerned, I mean, that's the best way to manage, is that not it?
I disagree. You see, you in as much as you remain someone who expends, you would actually always have debt. However, you try as much as possible to pay what you are told by the law to pay, because even if you don't pay, the law actually comes after you why you didn't pay the money. Like I mentioned, the statutory payments. Okay, we have hospitals in the western region and other places saying that or threatening that they want to go off because you've not been paying them or you've not given them their money. So I'm saying that if these expenditures
for example, yesterday there were four lawyers in Bonafo, for example, who are threatening to go on strike.
They have even gone on strike.
Just because their allowances have not come.
So all these things are issues.
So you're saying that if government should have been living up responsibly to its financial obligations,
we would not
then we'll still be going down the drain.
See, it is my wish to see that the economy is buoyant. It's my wish to see it going over. But the problem is that let us not artificialize it.
Adam,
and think that is the fact.
Adam, the criticism that is leveled constantly against government's intention or government's decision to go to the IMF has been that there are conditionalities. And basically, when they say you should reduce your wage bill, it means you have to cut jobs because you don't have alternatively other means of making sure you block the loopholes that is draining the financial system. And adequately also, you don't have the strategies in place.
I don't think that is so.
It is not so.
No.
You have to reduce expenditure on programs.
Retargeting could be done. Two, in terms of wage bill, we all admit that we have a lot of ghost names in the payroll. And every measure that will be put in to reduce the number drastically will be done. But let me just also address some
done
of
or
this.
will be done?
It's a process. It's a process. Okay. When you were in power, you try doing the same. Now? When you came, you should have left a payroll without ghost names. Okay. So when you have been in power before, don't pretend as if you haven't been in power.
But that's good excuse.
No. You see,
that's good
excuse. You see, no. When you are in power, when you have been in power, you have gone through the challenges. And
so you're saying if you're going through a challenge,
you should be able to let the person know that yes, we had the same challenges, and we think that if A, B, C,
I don't
D
get you leftover.
You see,
notes are left
over. Just came out
we are handing over notes in every office.
We have an economy. If the payment arrears didn't start now, I just want in 2001 to 2007.
This equalization will help.
No. I just want to come to something. You see. It happened in your time, it's happening now. But we are not saying once it is happening, it's good for us to equalize. But when you pretend as if it has never happened,
well, your point has been made.
I need to draw your attention.
Very well.
I made it clear. One of the indicators, one of the factors that brings about a fall in the value of the cedi was speculations. When I was analyzing here, it was speculations. Speculations was one, whereby they expected, okay, this thing will happen, therefore they try to buy more dollars down, and that increased the demand for dollar as compared to supply. The government has taken measures to make sure that rather instead of buying, people are selling, and that has resulted a lot in the decline.
What measures?
What measures?
One,
what did you do? to have announced Eurobond?
No.
No.
The Bank of Ghana
government decision to go for IMF program was very critical. That is one. Two, the syndicated loan coming was very critical. He just said it didn't come. It has not come. Is that all this what we are talking hasn't arrived in the country? But why is it that the city is falling? That is why the point of speculation.
But he's saying that the market response to stimuli, as well.
Yes.
You know what?
And why? Who implemented those things and it started falling? Okay. Anyway. So you see, when you say government has no direction, at the same time, government decision to do A, B, C is resulting in something.
I have to wrap up. I know. 4 minutes past 8. My time is up.
Honorable, you have no excuse whatsoever.
So I give you only 2 minutes.
Yes, 2 minutes. You have no excuse whatsoever when you want to say that yesterday NPP did this and today, therefore, you should also be in the process of doing this. Let me tell you, assuming without admitting that yes, the Ghanaian voter did say that NPP didn't do well. We're voted out. Let's assume that that was the reason. Today, you came and campaigned on a manifesto that you were going to make the economy better. You were going to have one-time premium. You were going to do all these sugar-coated words. Now the Ghanaian voter reposed confidence in you only for you to come and say that and start equalization again. Yesterday, MPP was doing this, and therefore we are also going on the process. What are you doing to us? You see, we are saying that we've given you the mandate. You are in the driver's seat. Ensure that what is put in your hand is money. But don't come and say yesterday MPP did this, and therefore we
I thought once you have been in that position, you will not pretend as if you have never been in that position.
The camera will focus on the two of them. Then I'll introduce
when you have been in that position, you should be the best to talk well.
So this
pretend as if you haven't been in that position.
Adam Mutawakilu is a member of parliament for Damango, a member of the NDC. And the gentleman in blue is Kamal Dean Abdullahi. He is the national Nasara coordinator of the MPP. Gentlemen.
Well, I apologize for coming late anyway.
Yes.
It's just
but
so much. Very unfortunate, actually.
All right.
Thank you.
So we hope to have you again. And you have promised me you'll come back.
I will
All right.
come back.
So what